Hey team, Hayden from Pitcher. Let's talk about objections today. Let's talk about, because objections suck, okay? And for years and years and years, I've had the mindset that an objection is when someone gives you an objection, you have to answer that objection. You're arguing with them. Now, I still stand by that because I do believe that when you're arguing with a client, that's not a good place to be. But sometimes what you got to consider is that an objection is the client not understanding enough about what you're offering them to make a decision. They don't have all the information they need, to make a decision. That's one side of the coin. But the biggest objection that most of us will probably get is this one. Hey, it all looks really good. It sounds really good. I understand why you're pricing that way, but can we put it off for another 3 months? Can we put it off? I'll have a think about it. Maybe we can do it next year. Maybe we can do it in a few weeks when things change, So you'll get clients saying this to you and you'll go, what do I say? And most of us will go, yes, yeah, sure, that's fine. Just get in touch when you're ready. And that just kind of blows that whole deal. The deal goes cold and you lose it unless you're onto it. Okay. But that's a stink objection. Some of the mistakes we make really are we let them go. Okay. We let them go and we say, hey, that's fine. We've had this great conversation, but it's not the right timing for you. I totally get that. And let me say, there's sometimes when it's not going to be the right time for your clients. They have a genuine reason. Maybe it's a cash flow issue. Maybe it's a time issue. Whatever that might be. But what I want to advise you guys to do today and to start to think about is you have to push them back a little bit. Because remember, you're the consultant. You're the person that knows why good branding, why a rebrand, why whatever it is you might be doing for them, it's going to add value to them and their business, and it's going to help them. So you don't want to make the mistake of letting them off the hook too early. What you want to be doing, ideally, what all of us want, is to be able to turn that conversation around and go, hey, look, I know we've talked about this, and I know you've said it's an issue for you, but let's talk about it a little bit more, okay? So the big idea with this is if you're struggling with clients saying to you, it all looks good, but the timing is not right, let's do it later on, and you're getting pushback from that, what you have to kind of consider is two things. You're a consultant, right? So it's terrible spelling. You know what's good for their business. You know what's good for their business. You've just spent the last hour with the client, ideally diagnosing a problem, ideally finding out what their big challenge is that your product, your creative services can solve for them. So you've already found a problem, right? And if you're doing it right, you've found that problem and you've expanded that problem to find out the true size of that problem, because most of us will go into an interview situation and we'll uncover a problem that a client's got and it'll be this big. And the reason it's this big, and the reason it's that big is because the client doesn't understand the extent of the problem or the potential consequences of the problem. So here's why I want you to think about pushing back a little bit. And I'm going to give you a really good question you can ask in a minute, but here's why. If you're a consultant and you sit down with your client, and let's just say an easy one to talk about is web, and you say, okay, so we've talked about your problem. You've got a website that's 3 years old, or even I'm 2 years old, right? And it's not converting, okay? Okay, so it's not converting. And you're getting, so how many visitors are you getting to your website a day? And let's just say, just to make it easy, you're getting 20. I'm just going to make it super easy. Say that website's getting 20 visitors a day. And then you go, okay, so how much does an average customer spend with you on a session? So they come to your website, they're buying something from you. How much do they actually spend? And they might say, well, an average customer spends anywhere from, say, $250 to $1,000 with us, okay? So let's just make it easy. So $500, okay? And you go, all right, I understand that now. So, okay, if that's how much they're spending, how many of those people actually are converting? And they go, well, out of 20 people who come to our website every day, we're probably converting 5. All right, so you're missing out on 15 clients. Okay, so then if you're missing out on 15 clients a day and an average spend is $500, that means you're losing $7,500 a day, all right? And let's say you're losing $7.5 grand a day, and your busiest days are over the weekdays. That's $37,500. So $37,500 you're losing every single week, potentially. Now, you're not going to convert 100% of the people that come to your website, of course. But even if it was half that, even if it was $18,750 you're losing a week, over a month, you're losing $75,000 potentially. Okay, now there's no certainty in what I do. There's no certainty in what you do, right? But all I can tell you is that by having a highly responsive website with a super easy cart, with super easy to follow CTAs, with easy forms, you know, whatever, however you talk about what you do, by having this, we could potentially make you an extra $18,750 a week if you only converted half of the people that aren't converting right now. So the client goes to you, wow, that sounds really good. So how much? Anyway, I'm kind of skipping ahead, but the whole idea here is you've found out a potential problem. You've found out something you can help them with. And then they say, so how much is it going to be for me for a brand new web build with e-commerce and Shopify integration, whatever it might be? And you say, okay, so that's probably going to be, you'll be looking at $15,000. And they go, $15,000. Yeah, it sounds good. Sounds great. But maybe we'll do it next quarter. Maybe we'll just hold off for a bit because we don't have $15,000 right now. Now, coming full circle, at the very start, I said to you that maybe when we get stuck on this objection, we say, okay, I totally understand. Let me know when you're ready and we'll move forward then. And you let them off the hook. But what you got to understand is if you're a consultant, you have to give them good advice. And my advice to you is to push them back. Is to ask one further question and push them back just a little bit more so they have all the information. Your job as a consultant is to give your clients and your prospects all the potential information they need. So just push back once more and say, hey, I totally understand that, but you know, we just talked about that you're potentially losing $18,750 per week. At least, if you converted 70%, 80% of those customers, it would be closer to $37,500 a week. So what does that look like now? And the investment is less than the potential revenue you're going to gain from 1 week of a highly responsive website that's more likely to convert your leads, more likely to make you those sales. So if you're stuck on this objection and you've done your job right, just remember, push them back one more time. Hey, we've just discussed this. What happens if this continues? What happens if you keep losing X amount per week? What happens if you keep, if you aren't going to get this result? What does that look like for your business? Because really, the best way to sell creative services and the easiest way to do it is when you can work out a return on investment for the client, and the return on investment is higher than the investment in what you're selling. Because then it's an easy win for you. Because if they can stand to make $37,500 a week versus spending 15 grand once, there's massive potential gain for them, and that's where the selling becomes a bit easier. So don't let them fall over. You're a consultant. Give them one more pushback and say, let's talk about this. We've just worked through all this. It would be a waste of time, and I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't at least relay the information back to you one more time and make sure that's exactly what you want to do. So I hope that's useful, guys. One more thing, if you want help with sales, and if you want help with finding clients, and you want help with reducing the overwhelm and stress in your creative studio or micro agency, if you're just a one-man band, designer, videographer, photographer, we run a group called Creative Growth. The next group is starting on November 16th. So if you're interested and you want help with selling, you can just message me with the words create, and I'll give you all the details. So take care, peace out, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.